Welcome to Mamas and Mimosas. I'm Roni.
I'm Janelle.
And I'm Marianne.
And today we're sharing how to talk to our kids about diversity, how we teach them to love and respect everyone, and how to appreciate the different cultures around us. We're all learning to be better together. So grab your mimosas, pop in those earphones, and let's dive right into episode 26.
Oh my god, it's gonna get deep, guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village.
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
Oh my god.
Bad mom.
Like
Gone
I'm
wild.
Yes.
Because I'm shining.
Woo! That was good, guys.
Before we start, we want to thank you for sharing our episodes with your mom friends. We are so lucky to have an amazing group of listeners. We love you and appreciate every single one of you. Stay tuned till the very end of this episode because we have a surprise announcement.
Okay, so let's talk about us growing up. Did you guys have a diverse group of friends?
I did growing up, and I think it ranged. I had everything now that I think about it, but because too I was in volleyball, so like I was in like a bunch of different sports and it brought everyone together, so we would become friends through sports and then just my class. So yeah, I did have a big diverse group of friends.
Same here. I've always had like just a big rainbow of friends. Like anybody who's nice to me, I'm nice to you. So yeah, same.
I love it.
How about you, Janelle?
So did I. Yeah, I feel like our schools were really good at having just all kinds of people there of all different cultures. So, and like you said, Roni, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you too. I don't care. I didn't care what you look like. Yeah. So how did your guys' parents teach you about diversity when you guys were younger, since you were around a big group of different people, you know?
For me, my mom never really mentioned anything or never sat me down and had like a diversity talk. She just always instilled the value of like loving everyone and being fair and being just with everyone around you, like no matter what you look like. She wouldn't even put it in words like that, like because they look like this or whatever. Like she just made sure that my brother and I knew to always make good choices when it came to being around other people, like just to be respectful and to love like our family and our friends and treat others the way you want to be treated. So she never really talked about it with me, to be honest.
That's the same for me. Like my parents never like sat me down and had to talk about, you know, if someone doesn't look like you, they're this. Like I feel like they led by example. Like just me watching them growing up, they were like friendly to everyone. We would have people at the house. Like I just seen them. They were so diverse in their friends and everything. So by seeing that growing up, you know, I had no thoughts on anything. Like I'm just like, it's people, you know, goes back to the you're nice to me, I'm nice to you kind of a thing. So they never really had like a talk with me about it.
I had like two different sides. Okay. So on my mom's side, we have all races, you know, and we have Asian, we have white, we have obviously Mexican or Hispanic, and then we also have Black. We have every race on my mom's side. So we never got that kind of talk either. But on my dad's side, they were like old school from Mexico that still had like their own, like they would stereotype other races, you know? So it wasn't, because I remember one of my cousins on my dad's side, which we weren't really close to, but I remember one of my cousins had dated or married, I think she married a Black man. And I remember like she was considered the black sheep of the family, like on that side. Like everybody was just so old school in their ways. And like, I remember thinking like, why? What's the big
Why does it
freaking
matter?
yeah, what's
Yeah.
the big deal? But they never really talked to us. I think because we were never really close to that side of the family, so they never sat us down and told us, you know, anything really. I mean, I just feel like I always leaned more towards my mom's side, who had just obviously loved and accepted everybody, no matter what their skin color was. So, but I do remember, like, I do remember seeing that hatred on that side and thinking like, you guys are so small-minded, you know, like what's wrong with you guys?
And you were young, and you
And I was
even and
young,
knew
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, because I was young, but I was also like defensive because I was like, our
What's this
family
about?
on my other side, you know, my grandpa and like everybody else are all different races, you know, so
Hmm.
I feel like I felt like defensive, you know, at that young age. But I mean, like I said, we weren't really close to that side of the family anyway. So but I do remember that growing up, hearing, you know, stereotypes and different, different ignorant things people would say, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you guys explain diversity to your kids now?
For Lennon, we
Or do you guys explain diversity to your kids? You know, maybe that's something that
it hasn't. I mean, it hasn't came up. I mean, it's. I kind of. We do like what I was raised on, and I just feel like it's humanity part. You know, like just to love and respect and be fair to everyone, no matter what. And you know, if someone's being respectful to you and you look different, then you still need to be respectful. It's just how we were raised, and I never had an issue with looking at people differently. So I feel like, why not teach him the same? And it's just part of who we are as humans, to love. And I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like, everyone has a heart. So, you know what I mean? That's what our heart is really made for, is for loving others and keeping us alive. And that's,
So use it correctly.
yeah.
You're trying to.
So that's what, I mean, we just teach him, like, I mean, it's never been an issue, thankfully, because he goes to a school, or he went to a school where he is like the darkest one in his class. And like, it's never been like a question, or it's never crossed his mind like, oh, I look different than everyone else. Like, it's never been an issue. And I think it reflects on how we parent him, because he hasn't asked that question, and like, he knows just to be respectful, and you make friends the way you want someone to treat you. So be nice to everyone.
Right?
please
I
be
feel
nice. Yeah.
I feel like at that age too, that's what they need to know. They don't need to
Yeah.
know all the, like, you just play with who you want to play with, and that's
Yeah.
it. This part here is kind of still hard, like, because my kids are all different ages. So I haven't really like sat down and had to talk with them. I just try to lead by example. And we're a big mixed up family as is. You know, me and my husband are two different races. So I feel like we've already broke boundaries. They see like love, you know, in the house. And then I also try to like show them without showing them, like with toys. Like, my daughter has dolls of every color. I buy her all kinds of dolls. I don't just buy her, you know, one doll that looks like her. She has dolls that looks like her. She has dolls that may look like a friend. She has dolls that may look like her grandma. Like, just showing things like that. And with the boys too, same thing, just bringing things in like that, so they can see that we're all the same. We're all the same. So there's no need to judge anybody, because we're all the same. So I feel like that helps. But as far as like a sit down talk, I feel like the older my oldest son gets, he has more questions.
He's 14.
But he also, yeah, he's 14, but he also has been, you know, taught to respect and love everyone. He just knows automatically. So it hasn't been really hard. I'm sure it's getting there, but it's not there yet.
You know what? It's interesting because I don't even know why we had this conversation or we started it, or I think maybe it was, oh, a movie. A movie sparked the conversation, which I
Okay.
feel like a lot of movies can spark conversation in your home, you know? And I
Absolutely.
don't know which movie it was, but it was a movie that they were mistreating a girl because of the color of her skin. And so that sparked a conversation in our home when our
Or
kids were really young. Like my oldest, I think he was like 5 or 6. And at the time, I mean, we have such a mixture of friends of all different races. So he's very exposed to everyone, you know, and he loves everyone. So he's never pointed out the difference of everybody's skin colors. But he had noticed on the movie that they were so mean to this one girl. And I think that they had pointed out her skin color. And so then with that, me and my husband took that opportunity to explain to him, like, do you think that she feels any different because of the color of her skin? Like, do you feel any different from, you know, this person just because you're darker than him or you're lighter than him, you know? And then, and so like, I feel like we kind of broke it down and like, because he saw that it was unfair the way that the kid was being treated, you know, and he didn't understand why. And so we just explained to him, you know, there's some small-minded people out there who will treat you different by the way that you look, you know, whether you're dark or you're light or you're, you know, what they consider ugly or good looking, you know, everybody has their different opinions and they're some people are going to mistreat you and call you, you know, things based on those things, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to hold any power, you know, people
And I
you
think
you
that
can be
relates
stronger than
to
that.
our bully episode. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I
but
feel
it,
like in a sense when you treat other people differently just because of the way that they look and not because the way that they treat you is a freaking bully, you
yeah.
know?
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the conversations, but we've also broadened that conversation. So not just for skin tones, but for sexualities, you know, like we
Yeah.
have a lot of people in our family who love the same gender, you know, or you know, and everybody has different opinions on that, but we definitely have taught them to love everyone and be kind to everyone and just judge them on the way that they treat you, you know,
Right.
like, and I
The
kind of like
content of
don't
their
like
character.
that. Yeah, and the content of the character, but like part of me is like, you don't have to go around judging people, but basically if somebody treats you wrong, you don't have to be their friend, you know, like that's what I mean by judging. Like judge the situation and the way that the person's treating you. You know, because there's idiots of all different colors.
Yeah, right. That you
Yeah,
can't control. But it's good that you brought up the fact that there are people out there because you can't be blinded by it and just, act like there's no one out there or we're like there's rainbows and unicorns. Like the fact that you brought that up and did let them know that, yeah, there's a few crazies who still, think this way, but it's not how you're supposed to do it. So
Yeah.
good
right.
job.
And thank you. But okay, so growing up with a brother who has special needs, right? I feel like I've always had to try, like, I feel like
Protect
all of
them.
our siblings have always had to try to be his voice, you know, and stick
Yeah.
up for him. So that's like really big on what I try to instill on my kids. Like, if you have a friend who might be more shy, but they're getting teased based on the color of their skin or how they look, like, you need to stick
Speak
up
up.
for them, you know, and be their voice because they may not be so brave or, you know, like,
They could be
I don't
their
know. I just feel
advocate.
so strongly. I just feel so strongly about teaching your kid to stick up for themselves and other people, you know, because not everybody talks to their parents about these kind of things, you know?
And
Absolutely.
people are raised differently and don't know how to handle situations like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes they just shut down and then like no one's there to help them. So if
Yeah.
you can help them, why not?
And they're
Yeah.
watching us too. Our kids are absolutely watching everything we do, you know? So they're going off of our energy and how we're acting. And if they see, okay, our parents are, they're cool with everything with this, like they're seeing that. But if they see something else, then naturally they're going to think that this is how you're supposed to act or this is what you're supposed to do. and then that's what they go give.
And if they're not exposed by, around people who are different races and that your family love or your parents accept, it's no wonder that they feel like, oh, they're different,
And
may
and that's
not
a
only
big
look
thing.
different, but my family doesn't, my parents don't have any friends like that, or like
Exactly.
they
That's the
can.
big thing, being exposed to it also.
Mhm.
It's almost hard to not be exposed to it because we live in such a diverse country that if they, like your family or your parents, kind of shelter you from certain things, like once you step out into like public school or whatever, like diversity's all around you, whether it's gender, it's race, it's anything. So it's like
Unless you live in a
a
bubble.
kid, a kid's gonna be exposed to it whether you shelter them or not. So why not
But there's
show
still
them?
some states that are more that are not as diverse as other
Yeah.
states, and some churches and some groups,
Yeah.
So I feel like I can understand why those groups may grow up so,
Yeah.
in that little bubble and then eventually go off to college and they're like, wait,
Whoa. Yeah.
like what's going on?
Hmm.
So
True.
So Roni had shared with us a really cool meme.
Basically, it's just like a motivating. It's a PhD. She has her PhD. She just gives motivational advice and helping you, mommy, I guess. And she lists some really good tips on how to talk to your kids about things like this.
So the first one, we can take turns, okay? Because there's 5 tips, okay? And we are going to link the 5 tips in the show notes too. So if you missed them, you can go back and check them out. The first tip was to be honest, to don't encourage your children not to see color or tell children we are all the same. Rather, discuss differences openly and highlight diversity by choosing picture books, toys, games, and videos that feature diverse characters and positive non-stereotypical roles. So I think that that's what Roni was saying, how like
With the dolls.
The dolls and different toys. But not only that, but like have more people around you that are different, so that you can. And I like how they said to highlight the differences, like you don't have to, because back in the day, I remember people saying that they were colorblind. Excuse me. And I thought that was a good thing to be colorblind, but it's not, because you're basically lying, because we all see color, we all see different shades of color. So you don't have to act like I'm not brown and, you're not black. Like you have to understand that there's so many different races and traditions out there and cultures, and learn about the different ones so that you can appreciate them rather than feel like they're so different,
Absolutely. Then the next one is embrace curiosity. Be careful not to ignore or discourage kids to question differences. Not being open to such questions sends the message that different is negative. Which is like what you just kind of said, right? Exactly, verbatim.
Don't neglect a question that your kid asks when it comes up.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, and the third one is broaden choices. Don't stereotype gender roles, games, sports, or activities. So we do that with the boys. Like, don't like say ballet is only for girls, or
or cooking or anything, like the little kitchen sets and all that stuff is only for girls. But I learned that actually in my sociology class over in college. They were talking about how gender roles start off so young, like you'll never see a little girl get a toolbox for her birthday, as you would see her get a dollhouse, right? And you never see a little boy get a dollhouse. You see him get a freaking toolbox or whatever else he gets. And so just by switching it up, that could kind of help.
Or like, I think it's interesting, like, because kids, like at a certain age, like Landon's when was in preschool, like was all about like rainbow, like wanted everything to be a rainbow color. So then like when he chose things that were like pink, or like if another kid chose, like that was a boy and chose pink, like I can see like father figures be like, oh, pink's for girls, or you know what I mean, like things like that should be discouraged, I want to say, because then now you're starting to
Yep, you're
teach them
already
that.
setting that up. Exactly.
4 is a foster pride and discuss your family heritage to encourage self-knowledge and a positive self-concept. And I think that's really good because I think it's good to learn about your own culture, so that, and then teach your kids so that they have pride, you know.
Absolutely.
Do you guys celebrate, any traditions or cultural traditions in your guys' family?
We do. Like we do little, well, I'm more so like when my mom was around, like she was very superstitious or traditional. So we would do a lot of the things that like she would normally do growing up, or like at her house, they all spoke Filipino. So whenever we were there, the kids were exposed to it, and they understand that we come from a different country, or Landon, I should say. Landon understands that we come, our families from the Philippines. So he's starting to ask like little questions like, how many minutes till you can get to the Philippines? And it's like, no. So we have to bring out a map, and we're like, it's over here at this country. And
How many minutes?
yeah, and it's like we show him pictures like, oh, this is what it looks like there. Or he's like, so it's like a jungle? And I'm like, no. Because like on the Discovery Channel, like, it'll show like jungle-ish things. And I was like, no, it's like how it is here, just different. So yeah, we try to expose him. More so for my side, I want to say, not so much my husband's side. My husband's Guamanian.
Yeah, you guys don't do
So it's
anything
harder.
that...
I mean, food-wise, we do, but not like, I don't
Any
know.
traditions
Yeah,
or
not that
anything
I
like
can
that.
think of.
And you, Ronnie?
The same. We just like, of course, culturally, food wise. And then I make it a point to like make sure that I give them some education about like when it's definitely Black History Month. Like I make sure they know who like all like the powerful civil rights leaders and things like that are, so that they just know, about it. But that's as far as anything else. No, and my husband, I don't even think like, what is their tradition? No, I'm with you, Marianne. I don't even think no, which is probably bad.
So, okay, so I'm first generation Mexican American on my dad's side because he was born in Mexico. But because we weren't really close to his side, I feel like we didn't really do all the super cultural traditions. Because my mom's side, they've been here for a long time. So their traditions are like making tamales during Christmas time and maybe celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and my mom doesn't speak Spanish, and my dad, he speaks Spanish. So he kind of taught us when we were little, but I'm not fluent at all. Like I could understand, but I can't really speak it. So I feel like because we were more exposed to my mom's side, we were more Americanized, I guess. So we don't really celebrate. And it sucks because like I'll try to celebrate like Cinco de Mayo for the Mexican side. And then my husband's Irish, so we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But that's like it.
Do you do like the traditional celebration, or you just do like St. Patty's, like clovers and stuff?
Yeah, not traditional at all. But we actually went to a St. Patrick's Day festival, and it was really cool because they had like the whole Celtic,
that's cool.
Everything. Yeah, so that was really cool, and we actually wanted to take them again, but just because my husband's schedule, we never really got around to it because it's like only one day a year or something like that at the fairgrounds.
We've
But
talked about bringing the kids to like the Philippines, like flying out there.
See, and I would love to take them to Mexico, but I just have heard so many scary stories that it's so dangerous that I just don't feel comfortable taking my kids knowing how dangerous it is. Plus, I don't know any of that my family on that side, you know, so who would I even connect with, you know? I mean, I don't know. But we would love to go to Ireland. That's cool too.
That'd be a cool trip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
but that'd be really expensive to take our kids. Like, that's really expensive. But it's definitely on the bucket list for sure. For sure. But I definitely need to, like, because I took a humanities class, God, a long time ago, and we learned all about like the Aztecs and the Mayans and all of that. And then we learned like the whole history about Cinco de Mayo and all that. So I do know about it. I really haven't taught my kids, and that's awful. I feel like this point is something that I need to like implement in my life so that my kids have some, you know, pride in where they're from and their heritage, you know. Celebrate 4th of July.
Yeah, you definitely have to start. That's good that we're talking about this though, because it's bringing up pointers that we may need to do ourselves, you know, so.
Yes.
And the last one is lead by example. Widen your circle of friends and acquaintances to include people from different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences.
Which we obviously do because we're all
Mamas and mimosas.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so like I said, we are going to link all of those in the show notes, or we're going to put all of those in the show notes. But we have an exciting announcement to let you guys know. Okay.
Is it exciting?
It's sad for me, I think.
Sad. It's sad.
So this is something that we have discussed, right? A long time ago. We wanted to do a certain amount of episodes and then take a break during the summer so that we can do vacations and do that whole thing with our family.
Enjoy the kids.
So, yes, spend time with our kids. So this is our
Season finale.
Season finale. Woo! Yeah.
Where's the confetti?
No.
It's exciting so that we can have a relaxing summer, but at the same time, I'm gonna miss you guys. I feel like I really love all of these.
I'm sure I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Well, once this quarantine is over.
Every week, you know?
I know. This was like my happy hour.
Oh,
I
this
know.
is girls' night. Girls' night.
And we can't thank you guys enough for being with us for the last 6 freaking months.
I know.
It's been 6 months, you guys.
We made it.
Crazy. And imagine all the things we've experienced in the last 6 months.
Like
Kobe Bryant, like Roni's love, the legend passing, and the way that he passed with his daughter and the rest of the passengers. And this whole global pandemic that is currently still going on. And now experiencing a historic movement for humanity. So,
yes.
This is
That's a lot.
We have been through a lot. I feel
This
like
6 months has wiped me out. Let me just say, like, this is usually how I feel at the end of the year. And I'm already there. Already there.
Okay, 2019 needs to come back.
Yeah, can we start again? Because we were really excited for 2020.
And we talked so much shit about 2019, and now we want her back.
Yeah. So yeah, we started January 1st, and I feel like this has gone by so fast. How many seasons are we gonna have a year? Like just 2 seasons per year?
We'll talk about that later, Janelle.
We'll definitely come back with season 2 this
For
year.
sure, yeah. Season 2 for sure.
Yes,
It's in
so
the
stay
works.
tuned for that. And we are going to still be active on our social media for Mamas and Mimosas. So definitely stay there, and then keep an eye out for any announcements on when we're going to come back we're going to put together our next season. So that's exciting because we're going to do kind of like a little rebrand, put together all the topics that we missed that you guys had asked for or requested. And
come back with those live Q&As.
And hopefully we'll be in one studio together.
Yes.
I know.
That's the plan.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Okay, so let's recap our first season. If you guys are new with us, you got to go check out. Dude, what is your favorite season from this episode? I mean, from this. Wait, hold on.
Favorite episode from this season. Favorite episode.
Favorite episode from this season.
Marianne's going first.
I'll go first. I think my favorite and probably the most embarrassing one now is like the sex one. Because I learned so much from Roni and it improved my sex life.
Wait,
to the max.
What number is that so we could link it?
Oh man.
Sex Life After Kids, because that was my favorite too. It was episode 2 or 3.
2.
We'll have to like go back and do another one of those because mine has definitely improved since
Oh
then.
yeah. So when we come back, we need an update. So we gotta
I feel like maybe a lot of people owe thanks to Roni because I feel like she kind of gave us some tips.
I gave you guys that jump start. I jumpstart your car. Where my
kickstart.
You too.
What do you call? You jump someone's car with the. Yep.
Yes.
What was your favorite episode? Sorry.
Janelle? Oh, mine's of course.
Roni.
Duh.
Oh, she
Sex
just
Life
said.
After Kids.
Oh, that one too?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that my favorite episode, which was the most uncomfortable one, which was overcoming sexual abuse.
That was your
I
favorite?
feel like that one
was the hardest.
It was definitely the hardest, but I feel like it was the most rewarding because we got so many messages from other people who had experienced the same. And I was surprised because I feel like I didn't know really a lot of people who had experienced it. So to hear how many people had that in common and then thanking us for putting it out there, that was
awesome.
That was crazy. Yeah. So that one was definitely a favorite. Yeah. But we have a lot more coming.
Yeah. Back in, when was that? Was that like one of our Easter episodes? I want to say we announced we were going to do something exciting for Mother's Day and we didn't get to because of like the whole quarantine.
Yeah.
We'll have to plan that for season 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. So stay tuned.
I can't even talk. Our party planner over there, Roni, is going to be putting something
all the ideas
together.
Yes.
So stay tuned. Yes. Okay. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know by taking a screenshot. Here, smile, screenshot. And tagging us on Instagram. Send this episode to another mama that you think could relate or maybe needs some tips on how to discuss diversity with her kids. We thank you guys so much for
love you. We love you guys. Thank you.
Guys. We'll miss you. Come back.
Please come back.